There comes a moment in life when you look around and realize you've been living for everyone but yourself. You've been saying yes to things that drain you, following paths that don't belong to you, and pretending to be someone you're not, just to make others comfortable. You've given your time, your energy, your dreams, all in the name of approval, love, or belonging. But deep inside, there's a quiet voice whispering, "What about me?" That voice is your truth, the real you, the one buried under expectations, noise, and constant pressure, is begging to come alive again. But here's the hard truth. No one is coming to save you. No one will hand you the life you deserve. You must decide, right now, to stop living for others and start focusing on you. Because when you stop chasing validation and start chasing purpose, everything changes. This is your season to reclaim your time, to rebuild your focus, to silence the chaos of the world and tune into the rhythm of your own heartbeat. You've spent years giving pieces of yourself away to people who never even noticed your sacrifice. Now it's time to turn that same energy inward, to become obsessed with your growth, your peace, your potential. The world has taught you that putting yourself first is selfish. But the truth, it's survival. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot inspire, lead, or love deeply if you're running on fumes. Focusing on yourself is not neglect. It's nourishment. It's choosing to finally become the main character of your own life, instead of playing a background role in someone else's story. From this moment on, your mission is simple: focus on you until you win. Every day, your attention is under attack. Social media, toxic people, endless distractions, all fighting for your focus. But the most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They learned how to protect their energy. They built invisible walls around their goals, cutting out anything that didn't align with their purpose. You must do the same. Start by asking yourself, what truly matters to me? Not to your parents, not to your friends, not to society. You. What do you want your life to look like 5 years from now? What kind of person do you want to become? Write it down. Speak it out loud. See it every day until it becomes your reality. Then create structure. Build routines that strengthen your mind. Wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because your peace is found in those quiet hours before the world wakes up. Move your body, feed your mind, read things that inspire growth, not gossip. Every habit is a seed. Plant the right ones and watch your future bloom. And yes, it won't be easy. You'll lose people when you start focusing on yourself. Some will call you distant. Others will say you've changed. But that's what growth looks like. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to evolve. When you stop watering dead relationships, you make space for better ones. When you stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to understand, you free your energy to build the life you want. Cut off distractions without guilt. Set boundaries without apology. Protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. And when self-doubt creeps in, and it will, remind yourself why you started. You are not doing this to prove others wrong. You are doing this to prove yourself right. To show yourself that you can rise, that you can win, that you are capable of living a life designed by your own hands. You will have days when motivation fades, when everything feels heavy. On those days, don't quit. Just rest. Refocus. Remember that success is not built overnight. It's built daily, through consistent, quiet discipline. Even when nobody claps for you, Even when no one believes in you, keep showing up. You owe it to yourself to see what happens if you don't give up. Your focus is your superpower. When you direct it toward your goals, the world begins to shift in your favor. You'll start attracting peace instead of chaos, progress instead of stagnation, freedom instead of fear. You've spent years chasing approval. You've worn masks to fit in, said yes when your heart screamed no, and carried burdens that were never yours to bear. But this is the moment of awakening. This is the moment you stop asking permission to be yourself. The world taught you to be liked, not to be fulfilled. But deep inside, there's a version of you that's tired. Tired of pretending, tired of explaining, tired of living on everyone else's terms. This chapter is your alarm clock. The sound that shakes you awake from the trance of people pleasing. Because from today forward, you no longer live for them. You live for you. There comes a moment in life when you wake up one morning, look around, and realize that the life you're living doesn't even belong to you. Every decision, every commitment, every routine, crafted around the expectations of others. You've become the version of yourself that makes everyone else comfortable, while the real you sits quietly in the corner, waiting to be seen. You've smiled when you wanted to cry, agreed when you wanted to say no, and pretended to be fine when your soul screamed for something more. That's the moment of awakening. The moment your heart whispers, I can't keep living like this. You see, most people spend their entire lives chasing approval. They dress for others, talk for others, even dream within the limits others set for them. But the truth is, the world will take everything from you if you let it. Your time, your peace, your joy, and it will never stop asking for more. That's why the most powerful thing you can ever do is to stop living for them and start living for you. There's a fire inside of you that's been dimmed by constant compromise. Every time you said yes to something that didn't feel right, the flame got weaker. Every time you held back your truth, it flickered. But that fire, it never went out. It's still there, waiting for you to breathe life into it again. Waiting for you to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The truth is, you've always known there's more for you. You've felt it deep down, in those quiet moments before sleep, in the silence between chaos, in the ache that rises when you watch someone else living freely and think, why not me? That feeling isn't envy, it's recognition. It's your soul reminding you that you were made for more than just existing. You were made for living. The problem is, we're taught to trade authenticity for acceptance. We're told to blend in, not to stand out. To be agreeable, even when it costs us our peace. But peace is the one thing you should never negotiate. Because when you lose your peace, you lose yourself. The constant need to be liked, to be validated, to be enough. It traps you in an invisible prison. And the door to that prison is unlocked. The only thing keeping you there is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of loneliness, fear of what people might say if you finally choose you. But here's the truth, people will talk anyway. Whether you play small or rise to your potential, they'll always have something to say. So why not give them something real to talk about? Why not live the life that makes you proud? Not just the one that makes others comfortable. The day you stop living for others is the day you start living in truth. And truth, no matter how painful, is the foundation of freedom. Freedom to dream again. Freedom to fail and try again. freedom to live without apology. But make no mistake, focusing on yourself doesn't mean becoming selfish. It means finally recognizing that you matter too. It means acknowledging that your dreams, your needs, your happiness deserve space. It means taking responsibility for your own growth, instead of waiting for someone else to give you permission to evolve. Think about how much of your life has been spent in the service of pleasing others. Staying quiet so no one gets offended, sacrificing your goals so someone else feels secure, delaying your growth so others don't feel left behind. You've been shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant to contain you. And you call it loyalty, you call it love. But sometimes, what you call loyalty is actually fear of rejection. What you call love is actually self-abandonment. There's a powerful peace that comes when you finally choose yourself. When you wake up and say, "I'm done betraying myself just to keep others comfortable." That decision changes everything. You begin to move differently. You start to see how much energy you've been wasting on things that don't move you forward. You start to feel alive again. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped living it on someone else's terms. And here's the beautiful irony. When you finally focus on your own growth, the world begins to respect you more. The same people who once questioned your choices will start to admire your discipline. The same ones who called you selfish will call you strong. Because nothing commands respect more than authenticity, but you have to earn that respect from yourself first. That's where the journey begins. It starts in the mirror. It starts when you look at your own reflection and say, "No more pretending. No more smiling through exhaustion. No more saying yes when your heart says no. No more putting yourself last." This is your turning point. The moment you reclaim your life from everyone who ever took it for granted. There will be resistance. Some people won't understand. They'll accuse you of changing, and they'll be right. You are changing. You're shedding the layers of guilt, fear, and self-doubt that kept you small. You're stepping into alignment with the person you were always meant to be. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But it's the kind of discomfort that leads to freedom. You have to get used to being misunderstood. You have to be okay walking alone for a while. Because the path to becoming yourself isn't crowded. It's quiet, it's sacred, it's powerful. And once you walk it long enough, you'll start to attract people who see you, not the version of you that performs, but the version that's real, the version that breathes freely, moves with purpose, and no longer asks for permission to exist. You owe it to yourself to build a life that feels like you, one that aligns with your values, your passions, your peace. One that makes you wake up with gratitude instead of resentment. You owe it to yourself to stop chasing love and start becoming it. To stop living small and start standing tall. Because when you finally focus on yourself, you don't lose people, you find the right ones. You don't become colder, you become clearer. You don't become selfish, you become whole. This is your wake up call. Your reminder that you were never born to live in the shadows of other people's opinions. You were born to create, to lead, to rise. And that begins when you make the bold decision to say, "I'm done living for others. From this day forward, I'm focusing on me," and that's not arrogance. That's awareness. Because once you focus on you, once you give yourself the attention, the care, the respect you've been giving everyone else, you unlock something unstoppable. A force that doesn't need validation, doesn't chase approval, and doesn't break under pressure. That force is you. And once you unleash it, nothing and no one can stop you. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your growth, you say no to yourself. You trade a piece of your peace for temporary comfort, and that exchange always comes with regret. Learning to say no is not just a skill, it's a revolution. It's the quiet power of a person who finally understands their worth. For too long, you've been programmed to please. You've been taught that kindness means always being available, that love means never disappointing anyone, that success means keeping everyone happy. But that's the fastest way to lose yourself. You cannot build a meaningful life while carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations on your shoulders. Saying no is uncomfortable at first. It feels harsh. It feels cold. It feels like rejection. But over time, you start to see the truth. Saying no isn't rejection. It's redirection. Every no you speak is a step closer to the life you actually want. Every boundary you set is a declaration that your time, your energy, your peace, they matter. You can't control how others react to your boundaries, but you can control how firmly you stand by them. People will test your limits. They will call you distant, selfish, even arrogant when you stop catering to their every need, but that's just their discomfort speaking. The truth is, you were never obligated to be the constant fixer, the listener, the caretaker of everyone else's emotions. You've done that role long enough. And now, it's time to retire from it. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You owe yourself your clarity. Think about how often you've sacrificed your priorities to make someone else feel comfortable. How many times you've said yes to plans you didn't want, to commitments you couldn't afford, to people who took and never gave back. Each time you told yourself it was fine, you told yourself it was small. But all those small sacrifices add up. They build resentment. They erode your joy. They dim your spirit one yes at a time. And one day you wake up drained. Not because life is unfair, but because you never learned how to protect your energy. Protecting your energy means learning that your peace is priceless. It means not explaining your no, not apologizing for your boundaries, not feeling guilty for prioritizing your mental health. You're not here to be everything to everyone. You're here to be whole, focused, and aligned with what truly matters to you. And that alignment requires separation. It requires distance from what distracts, drains, and delays your progress. It's easy to feel guilty when you start putting yourself first. Society teaches us that self-care is selfish, that prioritizing your own needs is a form of arrogance. But what's truly selfish is expecting someone to sacrifice their well-being just to keep everyone else happy. You can't pour into others when you're empty. You can't lead love or create when you're running on fumes. Protecting your energy isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. There's power in stillness, in saying no to the noise that doesn't deserve your attention. Not every invitation is meant to be accepted. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every opportunity aligns with your purpose. When you start filtering what deserves your focus, you start reclaiming your time. And time is the one resource you can never get back. Spend it wisely. The people who truly value you will understand your boundaries. They won't guilt you for protecting your space. They'll respect it, because they know that when you do say yes, it's genuine. It's not forced, not performative, not born from obligation. It's real. Those are the relationships worth keeping. The ones built on respect, not expectation. Learning to say no also means saying yes to higher standards. It's saying yes to better energy, yes to deeper peace, yes to the quiet moments that help you grow. It's about filtering your life with intention. Ask yourself before every decision, does this move me closer to the person I want to become, or pull me further away? If it doesn't align with your purpose, your peace, or your progress, the answer is no. Sometimes protecting your energy means walking away silently. You don't have to make announcements. You don't have to justify your exit. Growth doesn't always come with closure. Some chapters end quietly, and that's okay. The goal isn't to win arguments. The goal is to win peace. Because when you protect your peace, you protect your focus. And when you protect your focus, you protect your destiny. You will notice that as you become more selective with your time, your circle gets smaller. And that's not a loss, that's refinement. The fewer people who have access to you, the more powerful you become. Not everyone deserves front row access to your life. Some people are meant to watch your growth from a distance. They weren't ready to honor your boundaries, so they don't get to witness your breakthrough. Every no is a message to the universe that you're serious about your purpose. It's saying, I'm no longer available for anything that drains me. And as you make those choices, your energy begins to shift. You start to feel lighter. You begin to notice how much time you wasted entertaining things that never served you. You begin to see that peace isn't something you find. It's something you protect. And the beautiful part, once you master the art of saying no, life gets quieter, but richer. You spend less time pleasing and more time building. You stop chasing validation and start chasing vision. You learn that solitude isn't loneliness. It's clarity. The moments you spend alone are where you reconnect with your strength, your direction, your purpose. That's where true confidence is born. The truth is, the world rewards those who are clear about their boundaries. When you stop being easily available, you become valuable. When you stop saying yes to everything, your yes begins to mean something. When you protect your energy, you attract people and opportunities that match your frequency. Because energy is currency. Spend it wisely. So, stop apologizing for protecting your space. Stop feeling bad for choosing yourself. Stop explaining your boundaries to people who benefit from you not having any. You don't need their approval. You need your focus. You need your calm. You need your clarity. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your purpose. You're saying yes to your growth. You're saying yes to the life you're meant to build. And that's the ultimate power. The power of a focused mind, guarded heart, and peaceful soul. You've spent years trying to keep everyone happy. Now it's time to make yourself whole. Because once you learn to protect your energy, no one, not the world, not negativity, not distraction, can take your power away again. And that right there is how you win. Success doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with a habit. Every achievement you've ever admired, every person you've ever looked up to, every goal that seemed impossible, they were all built on small, daily actions that compounded over time. The truth is, your life will always move in the direction of your habits. What you repeat, you become. The quality of your future depends not on your intentions, but on your discipline. Everyone wants change, but few are willing to commit to the routine that creates it. Habits are invisible architects. They quietly shape your destiny while you're busy looking for shortcuts. They decide your energy, your focus, your confidence. You can't build a strong mind with weak routines. You can't build a successful life while clinging to the same patterns that keep you distracted and reactive. It's time to build differently. It's time to create a foundation so solid that your success becomes inevitable. The secret lies in structure. Chaos destroys potential, but structure creates freedom. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. When you create systems that align with your goals, you take control of your direction. Without structure, motivation fades. Without habits, focus disappears. Motivation may get you started, but habits keep you going when the spark fades. Ask yourself, what does your day currently feed? Does it feed your purpose or your distractions? Every morning you wake up, you're given the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck lies in how they use them. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your routines. If your mornings start in chaos, your mind follows that pattern all day. That's why winners protect their mornings like treasure. They know the first hour of the day determines the tone of the next 23. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be intentional. Wake up before the noise begins. Spend time with your thoughts before the world starts making demands. Move your body, feed your mind, write your intentions. You're not just building a routine. You're building your foundation. It's not about waking up early because the internet says it's productive. It's about creating a sacred space that belongs to you. A time when your focus is sharp and your soul is still. When you start your day with control, you spend the rest of it in strength. Your habits are either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. There's no neutral ground. Every small action compounds. One set of actions builds your future, and the other quietly destroys it. You can't wish for growth while clinging to habits of stagnation. You can't demand success while your routines feed distraction. Success demands consistency. Growth demands repetition. Start small, but start strong. Replace one bad habit with one good one. Replace mindless scrolling with reading. Replace gossip with gratitude. Replace comparison with reflection. The smallest changes, done daily, create the biggest transformation. Because the power of habit is not in intensity, it's in consistency. The reason most people fail isn't because they don't know what to do. It's because they don't do it long enough. They quit when results take time. They expect change overnight. But habits don't shout. They whisper. They work silently in the background, building momentum while you sleep. The work you do today might not show tomorrow, but it's creating roots. And roots always grow before results appear. You must also learn to love the process, not just the prize. If your motivation only survives when you're rewarded, you'll never last. True growth begins when you show up even when you don't feel like it. When you train your mind to act, not react. When discipline becomes your language, that's when everything shifts. Because discipline builds trust within yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you teach your mind that your word has power. You can't have a strong mindset with weak promises to yourself. Stop negotiating with excuses. Stop waiting for the right mood or right time. The right time is now. The right mood will follow action, not the other way around. Winners don't rely on feelings, they rely on systems. When your system is strong, your success becomes automatic. You'll notice that once you create structure, peace follows. There's calm in knowing what needs to be done. There's power in clarity. You no longer waste energy deciding. You simply execute. That's how high performers live. They reduce decision fatigue by automating their discipline. The fewer choices you leave to chance, the more focus you have for what truly matters. And don't mistake routine for boredom. Routine is repetition with purpose. It's how greatness is built. Athletes don't train because it's exciting. They train because it's necessary. Artists don't create because they're always inspired. They create because it's who they are. The difference between mediocrity and mastery is found in those daily repetitions, done even when no one is watching. You must also protect your environment. Your habits are only as strong as the space they grow in. Surround yourself with people and energy that reinforce your standards. If you're trying to rise, you can't live among distractions that pull you down. Environment shapes behavior. It's easier to make the right choices when your surroundings align with your goals. And when you slip, and you will, don't start over. Start again. There's a difference. Starting over means you've abandoned the journey. Starting again means you're still committed. Consistency isn't about never failing. It's about never giving up. Progress is built by people who know how to recover faster than they quit. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the discipline to keep your word. To create systems that support your vision, even when your emotions don't. That's how you become unstoppable. That's how you build mental strength that can't be shaken by circumstance. Imagine this. You wake up each day knowing exactly what you need to do. Your mornings are calm, your actions deliberate, your goals crystal clear. There's no rush, no panic, no chaos, just rhythm. A rhythm that leads you forward day after day. That's the power of foundation. That's the quiet confidence of a person who has mastered their habits. Because once your habits are built around growth, success stops being an accident. It becomes a pattern. You begin to trust yourself again. You start to believe that no matter what happens, you'll stay steady. You'll show up. You'll push forward. You can't change your life overnight, but you can change what you do tonight. You can decide to set the alarm earlier, to write your goals down, to replace one mindless hour with one intentional one. That's where transformation begins. Not in massive leaps, but in quiet, consistent steps repeated until they become second nature. There's something powerful about knowing that, while others sleep, you're building. While others complain, you're creating. While others quit, you're showing up again. That's not luck. That's structure, and structure is what separates dreamers from doers. So, build your foundation now. Build it strong, build it steady, build it with purpose. Because when your habits align with your vision, you become unstoppable. When your structure supports your purpose, success stops being a question. It becomes your lifestyle. And that's the point where you stop chasing the life you want and start living it. Growth is not just about adding more to your life. It's about removing what no longer serves it. It's about subtraction before expansion. You can't climb while you're carrying the weight of people, habits, and environments that keep you anchored to the ground. The higher you want to rise, the lighter you must become. That's the unspoken truth of personal evolution. Everyone wants growth, but few are willing to release what's holding them back. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's understanding that some things were meant to teach you, not to travel with you. There comes a time when you must stop trying to save connections that were only meant for a version of you that no longer exists. The friends who once fit perfectly in your story might now belong to a chapter that's already closed. The routines that once brought comfort might now feel like cages. The conversations that once entertained you might now drain you. And that's not a sign of arrogance. It's a sign of transformation. You are evolving, and not everyone will evolve with you. The truth is, the moment you start focusing on growth, life begins to test your attachment. It will ask you to prove how badly you want your peace, your focus, your freedom. You can't hold on to everything and still expect to grow. Some bridges must burn for your path to light up. Some people must exit your life for your energy to return. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. Letting go doesn't always mean confrontation. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's walking away without a dramatic goodbye, without closure, without an explanation. You simply choose distance over disruption. You choose silence over chaos. You choose peace over approval. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access to you at every stage of your life. Some people are meant to be lessons, not lifelong commitments. It's not your job to keep everyone comfortable while you're breaking your own spirit. It's not your responsibility to explain your boundaries to those who benefit from you not having any. You've spent too long overextending yourself, trying to keep connections alive that stopped feeding your soul long ago. But when you finally let go, something miraculous happens. You make room for peace, for progress, for people who truly align with where you're going. Detachment is the art of knowing when something has served its purpose. It's looking at a situation, a habit, or a relationship and saying, "I'm grateful for what it taught me, but it no longer belongs in my future." That's not bitterness. That's emotional maturity. You stop resenting the ending and start respecting the lesson. Every ending is an evolution in disguise. But here's the hard truth. Cutting off isn't just about people. It's about parts of yourself. The excuses you've been clinging to, the fears you've been nurturing, the version of you that chooses comfort over courage. Growth demands that you let go of the person you were so you can meet the person you're becoming, and that version of you, the one waiting on the other side of your hesitation, is more powerful, more focused, more free than you can imagine. You must also understand that peace is expensive. It will cost you relationships, old identities, familiar habits, and sometimes the illusion of belonging. But once you taste true peace, the kind that comes from alignment, from saying no without guilt, you'll never want to return to the chaos you used to tolerate. The people who truly care about you won't guilt you for evolving. They'll celebrate it. They'll understand that your boundaries are not walls. They're gates that protect your focus. Some people will misunderstand your silence. They'll think you've changed. And they're right. You have. You've grown beyond what once entertained you. You've outgrown shallow conversations, fake smiles, and forced connections. You've learned that solitude is not loneliness, it's strength. When you start cutting off distractions, you create space for reflection. And reflection breeds clarity. That clarity is what separates the lost from the aligned. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they can grow while holding on to everything. But real growth is pruning. A tree doesn't flourish by keeping every branch. It thrives by letting go of what no longer bears fruit. You are no different. You must be willing to prune your life. Trim away what's dead, even if it once looked beautiful. And yes, it hurts. Growth always does. There will be nights when the silence feels heavy. Days when the loneliness stings. You'll question your decisions. You'll wonder if you made a mistake. But that's not regret, it's detox. You're cleansing yourself from the noise you once depended on. You're teaching yourself how to breathe again without needing validation from others. That's what healing sounds like. Quiet, uncomfortable, but necessary. Every time you say goodbye to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying hello to something that will. You're clearing energetic clutter. You're making room for peace to live where chaos once thrived. The people who are meant for you will never require you to shrink. They'll never guilt you for growing. They'll meet you at your new level or wish you well from afar. And either outcome is okay. The moment you stop chasing people who've stopped choosing you, you regain power. The moment you stop explaining your boundaries to those who ignore them, you reclaim energy. The moment you stop watering dead plants, your garden starts to grow again. Detachment isn't cold. It's clarity wrapped in courage. It's the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve your highest self. This process also reveals something profound. You realize that most of the limitations you blamed on others were actually self-inflicted. You kept tolerating energy that drained you. You kept revisiting situations you had already healed from. You kept reopening doors that life had already closed for your protection. But when you finally cut off what no longer aligns, you begin to experience freedom, real internal freedom. That freedom is quiet. It's the peace of not over-explaining yourself. It's the joy of being selective with your time. It's the calm of knowing that you're no longer chasing what doesn't belong to you. You begin to see that life isn't about collecting. It's about curating. Every person, every habit, every thought you allow into your life must earn its place. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. It means appreciating what was without clinging to what isn't. It means trusting that the universe replaces what you release with something better every single time. And when that happens, when you truly let go, you'll feel it, a shift. The noise fades. The confusion clears. The heaviness lifts. You'll realize that you were never losing people. You were losing versions of yourself that needed to be released. You'll see that the real blessing was never the connection. It was the courage to walk away. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, even if it means disappointing others. You owe it to your future to release what your past can't sustain. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop sacrificing yourself for what's not meant to stay. Because the truth is, once you cut off what drains you, you create space for what fulfills you. Once you stop begging to be understood, you start being respected. Once you stop chasing validation, you start attracting alignment. That's when you finally realize the art of cutting off isn't loss. It's liberation. There will come a moment in your journey when everything inside you whispers, maybe I'm not good enough. When doubt starts to creep into your mind like a shadow that refuses to leave. When your confidence trembles under the weight of failure, rejection, or judgment. And it's in that moment, right there, that your destiny is decided, not when things are easy, not when you're winning, but when you're standing face to face with self-doubt and deciding whether to move anyway. Because self-doubt is not the enemy, it's the test. It's life's way of asking, how badly do you really want this? It's the gatekeeper of your next level, standing there to see if you're willing to fight for what you say you believe in. Every great achiever has faced it. Every dreamer has wrestled with it. The difference between those who make it and those who quit isn't talent or luck. It's the courage to move forward even when confidence fades. There's something powerful about the person who acts in spite of fear. That's where the real transformation happens. Most people wait to feel ready before they start. But readiness is a lie. It never arrives. Confidence doesn't come before action. It's born through it. You can't think your way into self-belief. You must build it through experience. Every time you move forward uncertain but determined, you create evidence that you can handle more than you thought. Think about the moments that changed you. They didn't come wrapped in certainty. They came wrapped in challenge. They came disguised as doubt, disguised as discomfort. You grew because you were unsure, and yet you kept going. That's the essence of self-mastery. You stop waiting for the fear to disappear and learn to walk with it. The truth is, self-doubt feeds on hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder it grows. But when you take that first step, when you act while your heart is still racing, you cut off its oxygen. You prove to yourself that you don't need perfect conditions to progress. You just need motion. Forward motion. Progress over perfection, always. You have to understand that self-doubt doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. It means you're stepping into territory that matters. The people who never doubt themselves are the ones who never stretch beyond what's comfortable. They live safely inside their limits. But you're different. You're reaching for something greater, something uncertain, something worth the risk. That's why doubt visits you, because you're standing at the edge of growth. But here's the secret that most people never learns. Clarity is not found in thinking. It's found in doing. Every action, every mistake, every small victory teaches you something about who you are and what you're capable of. Doubt thrives in stillness, but dies in motion. So, move. Even when your hands shake, even when your mind questions you, move anyway. Every step forward weakens the voice of fear and strengthens the voice of confidence. The greatest mistake you can make is confusing self-doubt with truth. Just because your mind tells you you're not ready doesn't mean you're not capable. Your brain is wired to protect you, not to fulfill you. It wants safety, not success. It tries to pull you back to what's familiar because it fears failure. But you must understand, growth and comfort will never coexist. If you want to rise, you must learn to feel fear and act anyway. There's something magnetic about a person who's uncertain but persistent. The world respects consistency more than confidence. Show up every day, not perfectly, but faithfully. The days you don't feel like it are the days that define you. Because every time you show up, you're sending a message to your mind that says, I am still in control. That's how you reclaim power from doubt. Every great dreamer has felt like an imposter at some point. The difference is, they kept showing up until the feeling disappeared. They kept practicing until fear became familiarity. Every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are, wondering if they were enough. They weren't born confident, they built it, brick by brick, through effort, failure, and resilience. The mind is a battlefield. Every day, a war is fought between the version of you that believes and the version that hesitates. And the one that wins is the one you feed. When you feed your fear with excuses, it grows stronger. But when you feed your faith with action, doubt begins to starve. That's why routines and habits matter. They keep you grounded when your emotions try to pull you off course. There will be mornings when you wake up and feel invisible. When no one notices your effort, when progress feels slow, when it seems like you're the only one still believing. But remember this, consistency compounds in silence. The seeds you're planting today are growing roots beneath the surface. Just because you can't see the results yet doesn't mean nothing's happening. Keep watering your vision. Keep showing up for your future self. And yes, there will be setbacks. There will be days when failure makes you question everything. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every misstep, every mistake, every closed door carries a message. Try again, but smarter. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never let failure define them. You must learn to silence that inner critic that says, "Who do you think you are?" Replace it with a stronger voice that says, "I am becoming who I need to be." Because you are. Every challenge you overcome, every time you get back up, you're building a version of yourself that can handle more, dream bigger, and move faster. The truth is, you don't need more confidence. You need more courage. Confidence is a byproduct of action, but courage is the cause. Courage is taking the first step when you can't see the whole path. Courage is starting the conversation, applying for the opportunity, creating the thing no one asked for. Courage doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees growth. And growth, eventually, guarantees success. You're not meant to feel ready. You're meant to feel capable. You're not meant to be fearless. You're meant to be brave. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's the mastery of it. It's standing tall, even when your voice shakes. It's trusting that you'll figure it out as you go. And you will. Because you always have. Remember this: the person you admire, the one who seems unstoppable, is not stronger than you. They've just learned to move through fear faster. They've built a habit of doing before overthinking. That's the mindset that separates the achievers from the dreamers. So, the next time doubt whispers in your ear, don't fight it. Thank it. It means you're growing. It means you're stepping into something new. Let it remind you that progress always feels uncomfortable before it feels powerful. Then take a breath, ground yourself, and move forward. Quietly, intentionally, relentlessly. Because the truth is, confidence doesn't come from being sure. It comes from surviving what once scared you. Every challenge you overcome rewires your mind to believe a little more, trust a little deeper, and push a little harder. And one day you'll look back and realize that the voice of doubt is still there, but it no longer controls you. It's been replaced by a deeper knowing, a quiet inner strength that whispers, "You've got this." And that's when everything changes. Because once you learn to push through self-doubt with clarity and confidence, nothing in this world can stop you. There will come a day when no one believes in you. When your dreams sound too ambitious, your plans too unrealistic, and your goals too distant for anyone to take seriously. You'll look around for support, for encouragement, for even a spark of reassurance, and find nothing but silence. That's the moment most people quit. But that's also the moment where champions are made, because greatness isn't built when everyone claps for you. It's built when no one does. When you stop waiting for validation, something powerful happens. You begin to move for yourself. You begin to work for the vision, not the applause. You stop chasing recognition and start chasing results. And that's when your life changes. Because the truth is, no one will believe in your dream until they can see it. But by the time they see it, you'll already be living it. Every person who's ever achieved something extraordinary started with a lonely belief. A small whisper in the dark that said, "I can do this." When no one else could see the vision, they carried it alone. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The dreamers wait for company before they move. The doers build even when it's just them, even when no one's clapping, even when the world doubts them. There will be nights when you question your path, when the silence feels heavy and your effort feels invisible, when it feels like you're running on empty and no one even notices how much you're trying. Those are the defining moments, the quiet battles that shape your character. Because it's easy to keep going when you're seen, when you're celebrated, but it's what you do when no one's watching that decides who you'll become. The truth is, support is a luxury, not a requirement. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to understand yourself. The world doesn't owe you encouragement. It owes you nothing. You owe yourself the discipline to keep building, even when it feels pointless. You owe your future self the consistency that your present self doesn't feel like giving, because the day will come when the work you're doing now becomes the very thing that sets you free. The silence isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. When no one supports you, life is teaching you how to rely on yourself. It's teaching you how to lead, how to persist, how to hold your vision steady even when the world is blind to it. Those who need validation to move will always stop when the applause fades. But those who learn to move in silence, those who find strength in solitude, will never run out of fuel. You must understand that belief is built in private long before it's celebrated in public. Every small step you take, every lonely morning you push through, every quiet night you choose progress over comfort. You're planting the seeds of something extraordinary. But seeds don't grow overnight. You have to keep watering your vision even when it looks like nothing is happening. Because growth happens underground before it happens in the light. And yes, the people around you might not understand. They might laugh. They might doubt. They might tell you to be realistic, but what they don't realize is that every great achievement was once considered unrealistic. Airplanes were unrealistic. The internet was unrealistic. Every major breakthrough started as someone's wild idea that no one believed in. You're not crazy for believing in something bigger. You're courageous. When no one supports you, you have two choices: break down or break through. You can let the lack of belief become your reason to stop, or your reason to go harder. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who were born confident. They're the ones who kept going when everyone else stopped watching. They turned pain into power, isolation into focus, and rejection into resilience. There's beauty in being underestimated. It gives you space to grow without noise. It gives you time to sharpen your skills in peace. It allows you to build without interference, to surprise everyone later with the results of your quiet persistence. There's something deeply satisfying about letting your work speak louder than your words. When your results arrive, the same people who doubted you will be the ones asking how you did it. It's easy to get discouraged when people don't support you, especially when you've been there for them. You'll ask yourself why no one claps for you the way you clap for others. But here's the truth. Not everyone will see your potential, and not everyone is meant to. Some people can't see your light because they've never learned how to look beyond their own limitations. Don't take it personally. Their disbelief says more about their mindset than your worth. At some point, you have to stop trying to convince others and start convincing yourself. You have to become your own motivator, your own coach, your own cheerleader. Because if you can believe in yourself when no one else does, you've already won half the battle. The rest is just time and consistency. The most successful people you admire today were once ignored. They built their dreams quietly, brick by brick, while the world was asleep. They didn't need permission. They gave it to themselves. They didn't wait for support. They became their own support system. That's what greatness requires. The courage to walk alone, the discipline to stay focused, and the patience to wait for your season. And that season always comes. The day will arrive when all the lonely nights and silent mornings make sense. When you realize that the solitude was strengthening you, that the silence was shaping you, that the lack of support was teaching you how to stand tall, because you can't depend on external validation to sustain an internal mission. The fire inside you must burn regardless of who's watching. So, when no one claps, clap for yourself. When no one sees your effort, see it for yourself. When no one believes in your dream, protect it like a flame in the wind. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need you to believe in you. That's where everything begins. The truth is, you were never meant to be understood by everyone. Your vision was placed in your heart for a reason. It's not supposed to make sense to them. It's supposed to make sense to you. Don't let small minds convince you that your big dreams are impossible. Don't let their doubt become your voice. Keep moving, even if it's slow. Keep building, even if no one notices. Because the moment you stop for validation, you give away your power. And when it gets hard, when the silence gets heavy, when doubt creeps in, when it feels like you're all alone, remember this: solitude is not abandonment, it's preparation. Life is getting you ready for a stage you can't see yet. The people who left weren't meant to walk with you to the next chapter. The silence isn't punishment, it's positioning. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're just being refined in the dark so you can shine in the light. Every great story starts alone, in the quiet, with a single person who refuses to give up. You are that person. Keep going even when no one supports you, especially then. Because when you finally win, the victory will taste sweeter, knowing you did it by believing in yourself when no one else would. There comes a time when you must stop apologizing for putting yourself first. A time when you stop shrinking to make others comfortable, stop sacrificing your peace for their approval, and stop delaying your dreams so others can chase theirs. That time is now. Because the truth is, you can't pour into others from an empty cup. You can't give love energy or vision when you're drained. And yet, most people spend their lives serving everyone but themselves. Then wonder why they feel lost, exhausted, and unfulfilled. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish. It's self-respect. It's understanding that your peace, your energy, your purpose, all begin and end with you. You've been conditioned to believe that putting yourself first is wrong, that sacrifice equals virtue, that saying no makes you cold, that having boundaries means you're unkind. But here's the truth. People who truly care about you don't get offended by your boundaries. They get inspired by them. Because when you protect your peace, you remind others that it's okay to protect theirs. Prioritizing yourself doesn't push love away. It attracts healthier forms of it. The world will always demand pieces of you. Your time, your energy, your focus. And if you're not intentional, you'll wake up one day realizing that you've built everyone else's dream, except your own. You'll look in the mirror and see someone who gives endlessly, yet receives so little in return. You'll feel like you're running on fumes, always busy, always helping, but never fulfilled. The truth is, overextending yourself doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible. You start disappearing in the name of being needed. But the moment you decide to reclaim your focus, everything shifts. You stop saying yes out of guilt and start saying no out of power. You stop chasing approval and start choosing alignment. You realize that your time is currency, and how you spend it determines your quality of life. When you prioritize yourself, you start showing up to the world as your best self, not your tired, drained, overextended version. There's a quiet strength that comes with choosing yourself. It's not loud or defensive. It's calm and grounded. It's looking at your schedule and asking, does this serve my growth or my guilt? It's recognizing that rest is not laziness, it's maintenance. That alone time is not isolation, it's recalibration. When you start honoring your own needs, your world starts aligning. Your focus sharpens, your creativity expands, your energy multiplies. Because when you stop giving everything away, you finally have something left for yourself. People will test your boundaries. They'll call you distant, selfish, or arrogant. That's because they benefited from your lack of limits. Don't take it personally. The people who truly belong in your life will respect your priorities. They'll cheer for your growth, even if it means they get less of your time. The rest will fall away. And that's okay. You're not meant to be accessible to everyone. You're meant to be available to what truly matters. When you start prioritizing yourself, guilt will come knocking. You'll feel it every time you say no, every time you choose peace over people-pleasing. But understand this, guilt is just a sign that you're breaking an old habit of self-neglect. You've spent years believing that your worth is tied to what you can do for others. But your value doesn't come from your usefulness. It comes from your existence. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You don't have to explain your healing. The moment you stop living to please others, you start living with purpose. You start waking up with clarity instead of confusion. You stop asking for permission to be yourself. Because when you prioritize your growth, your energy begins to change, and energy doesn't lie. You attract opportunities that match your focus. You attract people who respect your boundaries. You attract peace that feels natural instead of forced. There's nothing selfish about self-care. It's strategy. You can't lead love or create from depletion. Think about it. How many times have you said yes just to avoid disappointing someone, only to end up disappointing yourself? How many times have you stayed in situations that drained you because you were afraid of being misunderstood? Every time you abandon yourself to keep the peace, you create a storm within. You teach yourself that everyone else's comfort matters more than your peace. But peace isn't found in pleasing. It's found in protecting your energy. It's not about cutting everyone off. It's about cutting off the version of you that tolerates less than you deserve. It's about saying, I matter too. It's about learning to rest without guilt, to pursue your goals without apology, to speak your truth without hesitation. Because your time on this earth is limited, and the last thing you want is to spend it living for everyone but yourself. When you start prioritizing yourself, something magical happens. You begin to remember who you are. You rediscover the parts of you that got buried under responsibility, expectation, and noise. You start to dream again, to create again, to breathe again. You realize that the version of you who once settled for less no longer exists. You're becoming someone who no longer seeks validation, only alignment. Someone who doesn't chase attention, only peace. Someone who understands that self-love isn't vanity, it's vitality. You'll start noticing that the more you choose yourself, the quieter life becomes. The chaos fades. The drama stops finding you, because peace doesn't coexist with everything. You have to choose it intentionally. Every no to distraction is a yes to purpose. Every boundary you set is an act of self-respect. Every moment you invest in yourself is a declaration that your life matters. But don't expect everyone to understand your transformation. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries will resist your growth. They'll say you've changed. And they're right. You've stopped prioritizing their comfort over your own peace. You've stopped giving out your energy like it's free. You've learned that you can be kind without being used, generous without being drained, available without being consumed. This journey of self-prioritization isn't about isolation. It's about alignment. You're aligning your actions with your values, your energy with your goals, your life with your vision. You start to realize that your time is sacred, your energy is precious, and your focus is your greatest weapon. And once you learn to protect those things, everything else in your life improves. Your relationships become healthier, your goals become clearer, your peace becomes non-negotiable. There will always be people who call you selfish for choosing yourself. Let them talk. The truth is, people who are at peace with themselves never guilt others for protecting their energy. Those who love you will adapt, those who drain you will disappear, and what remains will be authentic. Because real love thrives in respect, not dependence. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. To live for others or to live for yourself. To be the passenger in someone else's story or the author of your own. And the moment you choose yourself unapologetically, life begins to expand. You start to attract peace, power, and purpose in ways you've never experienced before. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for understanding. You owe no one an explanation for putting yourself first. Your growth is not up for debate. Your healing is not a discussion. Your peace is not negotiable. This is your time to reclaim your energy, your purpose, and your power. Because when you finally prioritize yourself without guilt, you unlock the version of you that was always meant to win. And nothing in this world can stop that. You've spent enough time living for others. Now it's time to live for yourself. The moment you stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose, the entire direction of your life changes. This journey isn't about becoming better than anyone else. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them misunderstand your silence. Because while they're distracted by noise, you're building your empire in peace. You're creating a life that makes sense to you, not to them. Every morning, remind yourself, I'm not competing with anyone. I'm becoming who I was meant to be. Focus on your dreams. Focus on your healing. Focus on your growth. Focus on you until you win. This has been another life-changing experience from Wisdom in Minutes audiobooks.